Welcome, adventurer. You're here because you might be lost.
Not the show.
And want to be pointed in one direction.
Not the band.
Rest assured, I, Clash-Escape the Shepherd.
Not the commander.
And my trusted associate, Tasty Sweet the Bubbly.
Not the candy.
We are here to perform Inception.
Not the movie.
Let us paint a picture of where you are. We know what you did last summer.
Not the thriller.
And now that winter is coming,
Not the catchphrase.
you're thinking it's time to spice up your life.
Not the song.
You might be home alone.
Not the comedy.
Maybe you have no friends.
Not the series.
Or you might be stuck home with someone intense. So you're thinking you might give online gaming a try. But unlike Clive Owen,
Still hot.
who thought he was coming back to gaming with Betfair after 35 years of running away from his shameful past, you mean actual gaming. Massively multiplayer online gaming. And so, your interest in Japanese culture has shortlisted Final Fantasy XIV as the game to try. But before you put the last nail in the decision coffin, stop!
It's not hammer time yet.
For we are to give you 10 reasons why you should not try Final Fantasy XIV this fall 2020. On your mark, get set,
Ruffalo!
Anybody who's been on the internet knows that it's a den of trolls,
Not the creature.
salty people
Not the chef.
who are trying to blow off
Not
steam
the platform.
at the expense of everyone else, coming in to seek vengeance
Not the game.
against the world after a tough day with their horrible bosses.
Not the comedy.
Why else would we feel so brave
Not the movie.
when hiding behind our screen? Well, you're in for a big disappointment. Final Fantasy XIV players have the audacity to be as helpful as a Swiss army knife at camping, as polite as a Care Bear, and as capable at the game as the Germans are at building cars and guns.
What?
You'll drown in a "how you doing," choke on "let me know if you need any help," and vomit on "good job guys." Ugh. Everybody who's bothered to spend the 16 hours it takes to watch Lord of the Rings
Or the 16,000 hours it takes to read it.
will know there are only 4 acceptable roles in a fantasy adventure. Number 1, the mysterious warrior destined for greatness.
Number 2, the androgynous archer.
Number 3, the know-it-all long-bearded wise wizard.
Number 4, the high-pitched, sex-faced weakling.
Instead, the Final Fantasy XIV developers took the liberty of coming up with 18 different classes that actually do feel and play differently. Who has the time to appreciate that kind of depth and freedom?
Not the song.
Today's entertainment is defined by the overwhelming absence of narrative creativity, and for a good reason. Nobody cares about the story.
We want to shut our brains down and be entertained.
Take the example of this masterpiece of cinematography, the Jurassic World universe. Some guy with a bit of money and too many Mexican workers manages to resurrect a 65 million year old ecosystem of deadly predators. They escape by accident,
Or should we say, snacksident?
and eat a bunch of people while the heroes barely get away with their lives.
Brain off and enjoy. Just brilliant.
What we get in Final Fantasy XIV in terms of story instead is a dense narrative plot spanning over 4 expansions, a rich cast of characters with their own motivations and morals, and a supporting cast of NPCs who go through as much development as we do. Who wants that? Brain cannot be off, not brilliant. The open world in this type of games is a little bit like the wilderness in Australia. It's vast and beautiful, and while you have to spend time in it, it's never really by choice because
Anything wild will kill you.
open world PvP is releasing an army of Dexters, Freddys, and American Psychos in the Australian wilderness on a permanent night of the purge.
If, like us, you feel that the thought of hacking your way through it all is appealing, well, you'd be disillusioned to know there's none of that in Final Fantasy XIV.
No one to kill you on your way to a turn-in, no tough wars for resources, and no corpse camping that idiot with a dumb name. Fun removed! Getting into a new MMO is like getting a new car. There are usually 2 types of post-purchase behaviors.
Number 1, boring, plain individuals who just drive it as is.
Number 2, bastions of popular awesomeness who get on to pimp my ride with our boy Exhibit.
By the way, don't you feel like he should be in Fast and Furious?
It's true. I mean, he does tick all the boxes. Celebrity, singer, no real acting experience.
But I guess he still has hair.
Well, Eggs, you know what to do, homie. Anyway, I digress.
In the end, I mean, I'm not a man, but isn't it? The more customized your vehicle, the bigger your penis is?
It's true, it's just physics. Well, if you are in to measure the size of your Johnson in this game, you'll have to pass as it supports no third-party programs. We're all just a bunch of mysteriously sized genitalia adventurers. Nah. Many pieces of entertainment out there depict large-scale battles.
Lord of the Rings,
Braveheart,
Dunkirk.
Gladiator. But there is one in particular that stands out for me for a couple of important reasons. That scene is the Battle of 5 Points in Gangs of New York. The first reason is the setup.
Two leaders fighting at each other while everyone else is quiet and roaring to throw their lives away for them.
The second reason is the resemblance in the crowd. I mean, I can barely tell who's who, so I'm imagining those hacking around in the thick of battle can't tell either. If you also think those two elements are essential to a great battle, then you're going to hate dungeons and raids in Final Fantasy XIV. They are sensical, non-cheesy, fit in the story, and are designed with structure and precise mechanics. Boo!
I mean, whatever happened to Brawls Gone Wild?
When you grow up in a big family, through the influence of your siblings, you get to discover things you wouldn't otherwise know, fields you wouldn't otherwise come across or understand. That's the case for me with fashion. I knew it existed, but thanks to my sister, I understand the difference between prêt-à-porter and haute couture, why Jean-Paul Gaultier is unique, and that Fashion Week isn't a giant catwalk of stunning supermodels running backstage in underwear.
And what's that got to do with a fantasy game?
Well, exactly, nothing. So if like me you think that saving the world doesn't require a fancy outfit, you will hate the Glamour System. Creating, saving and managing endless combination of looks is not something relevant in this type of game. Okay, thanks, bye. In gaming, adventure games tend to put a strong emphasis on leaving everything behind. Pokemon, Zelda Ocarina of Time, and more recently Xenoblade Chronicles 2 all have you kiss your mom/girlfriend/dragon goodbye before you go on your merry way. So we asked ourselves,
what does it mean to be an adventurer?
By ourselves, we really mean Google. We didn't find an answer, of course, but in the People Ask section, there was the following.
How to become an adventurer like Indiana Jones.
Of which the first answer was, talk to your employer about prolonged absence of unpaid leave. Talking about crushing your dreams. Anyway, I digress. The one thing everyone agrees on is that you have to leave your home to qualify as an adventurer. So why the hell would you bother giving us a fully fledged, rich and Moorish housing system tying into most crafting professions? We are adventurers. We don't need a pretty house with a gardening plot and a fancy fireplace. Moving on. A common topic amongst fans of entertainment, in which power is at the core of character identity, is discussing who'd win in a fight. There are entire channels on YouTube dedicated to these burning questions. Who would be victorious?
Superman.
Or Thor?
Saitama.
Or Ultra Instinct Goku?
James Bond.
Or Jason Bourne? Another burning question on the 18+ dark corners of Reddit is, what if such and such had a baby?
Oh, Reddit is gross.
I know. Nonetheless, Japanese scientists at Square Enix have answered 2 of these for us, even though we actually never asked. Inuyasha plus Yorichi equals Miqo'te.
Roger and Jessica equals Viera.
You know what they say though? Never bring your fantasies to life. Bear with me as I go through a little journey down memory lane. When I was a kid, I used to like a show called Cow and Chicken. English wasn't my first language, so these really helped. Oh, who am I kidding? I was basic and I loved the show. It was wacky and stupid, and while I always felt bad for Cow's mishaps when she wasn't Super Cow, Chicken's sarcastic comments often resonated with what I didn't dare to say out loud. Shocking, I know. Conversely, my niece was really into My Little Pony.
Yes, they're quite cute. You can groom them, change their look, and do all the Barbie-like business, but with a pony.
I don't really get the point of that, you know? But you must be wondering what the hell we're on about. Well, just put yourself in a brainstorming session in Japan, led by Snoop Dogg, during which, you guessed it, everyone is high. Mix Cow and Chicken with My Little Pony, and poof! That's Chocobos in Final Fantasy XIV. Ridiculous, isn't it? They help you in combat, you can ride them, they fly by the way, you can dress them up, just ridiculous. How old do you think we are? And this concludes our top 10 reasons why you should not start Final Fantasy XIV in 2020.
Thank you for watching.
It's a wrap, let it flow, share your thoughts down below.
Like a mic, drop a like, join the tribe, hit subscribe.
And remember, as usual,
Finish strong,
but start casual.